Welcome everyone. We will be talking about internal environment, primarily about the organization and the corporate bodies, their capabilities and the competencies, how can we enhance them and probably build them thereby. This will be approximately a half an hour of presentation. So kindly go through it. It will enlighten you with respect to an organization capability and competency building. So basically, what we would try to cover out here, I would love to cover the core and distinctive competencies of a firm. Remember, it is this core and distinctive competencies which will segregate the firm from the rest of the competitions. Rio network, as in we will be talking in the subsequent slide, which was all about the competitive advantage. A company, an organization, a corporate body, or even an individual who has these four requirements, Rio, will ensure success in their lifespan, in their existence. So understand the company business model thereby and how it can be imitated. We will also talk about the corporate cultures, as in how does it affect the proposed strategy, why a particular strategy has been embarked upon. It is only based on the culture, the ethos that the company believes it can sustain. Now, that is the primary reason why a company at times becomes a vibrant company, a company which might be a risk-taking company, a company which might be conservative in its approach, a company which might believe in asset-heavy businesses, a company which believes in an asset-light businesses, depends primarily on the culture and the risk-taking capacity of the company thereby. Remember, scanning the functional resources to determine their wits and the requirement of the firm. We will be talking about the internal factor analysis matrix altogether for you to understand. The summary part will be given at the fag end of this particular presentation. So let's understand what exactly is organization. Remember, an organization is always resource based. An organization which has its own strength and weaknesses based on its own competencies that goes around it. Remember, the competencies we are talking in terms of the human wealth, right? Probably human wealth, probably resources in terms of the raw material. Probably I have said a company can be even financially can be well off, something like that. So you need to understand a resource-based approach for an organization analysis thereby. So what are the competencies that I've been talking about in my previous slides? So basically we were talking about the core competencies and the distinctive competencies. Core competencies are essentially internally the company is good at, and distinctive competencies which makes the company far ahead, far superior than the rest of its competitor, and that is what we are looking around it. Resources is anything, any assets. I said employees as a resources, technology can be a resource, finance can be a resource. They are the building blocks of an organization. Remember, these resources only ensure that the company is going to go for a longer haul of existence in the corporate body. They might be resource, they might be tangible and intangible as the case might be. So this is what core competencies and distinctive competencies have been talking about it. We'll speak about the capabilities. Refer to the corporation's ability to exploit its resources, consist of business process routines that have managed the interaction thereby. Obviously, yes, among the resource to turn inputs into outputs as the case might be. This is what we are actually trying to build upon it. Refer, this is the company's ability to exploit its resources as on when on basis. So core competencies always a collections of competencies. Now that which we are good at it. Let's say my brand of a company is renowned. It has been existence for a few centuries probably. Isn't that a core competency for a per se? Or even for that matter, my company is known for innovative products, innovation as a core thing, right? It is creating an out of box solution, out of box services, out of box products for the end customer, end consumption. Is that what the core competencies is all about it? So thereby, after a few years of an existence, people are only going to expect better things and out of box solutions from the company as a core competency. Now this is what needs to be understood as a distinctive competency. If we can regularly delivers on the customer expectancy, that makes us distinctive competency. So a core competencies which are repeatedly superior to that of this competition are core competencies which are repeatedly inserted, asserted, and um, blessed upon, probably sustained upon by the company is what we are looking at. A core competencies is a fundamental block of things that actually on which the company is based upon. So this is what we are looking around it. Now, did I say about Vrio networks or Vrio framework? I also mentioned that Vrio framework, if implemented on an individual basis, on a company basis, corporate bodies basis, non-profit organization basis, and you name it, and we have it. This Vrio framework, if these parameters are met, it means that success is guaranteed. So V stands for value, R for rareness, I for immutability, and O for organizations. So if you have value, that is maybe customer focused, cost focused, the way you want to go around it, it is what we are looking into it. Rareness is, do that some other competitors possesses? Probably not, that we are looking at it. Imitability, is it the cost of the others to imitate? That what we are looking for it. Organization is the firm organized to exploit the resources thereby. This is what we are looking forward. Remember, value, rareness, imitability, organization is what we are doing so. Let us proceed. Mind you, how to gain competitive advantages. Remember, this is how do we go about it. Identify and classify resources in terms of strength, in terms of weaknesses. Every coin has two sides. So a company cannot be full of strength. There might be something in the hindsight that might have been left altogether unattended. And that is what weaknesses is all about it. Combine the firm's strength into specific capabilities and core competencies there is. Appraise profit potential. Are there any distinctive competencies that we keep on telling about it? Is appraising the fact that what are you good at it, and that is what is going to lead to a further competitive advantages. And remember, I'm talking about advantages. Advantages is always over your superior or over your inferior, or should I say your competitors. So select the strategy that's best exploits the firm's capabilities and competencies relative to the external environment. Identify resource gaps and invest in upgrading the weaknesses thereby. This is what we are looking into it time and again. So access to distinctive competencies, asset endowment acquired from someone else, shared with another businesses, built and accumulate within the company. This is what we are looking for. It is asset endowment acquired from someone else, shared with another businesses, built and accumulate within the company, as the case might be, as we are looking for to it. Access to a distinctive competencies cluster, geographic concentration of interconnected companies and industries, as the case might be. Now, what is the geographic concentration of interconnected companies? What are we looking at it? This, you are looking at a cluster as in what are being facilitated, or what are the technological prowess, if you want to go around it, within a companies, within the inter companies, or within the industry, if you look into. And that is what is a cluster is all about it. Now, what does it mean? That means there's an access to employees, suppliers, specialized information, complementary products, as in things. So if we have an automobile hub, so you will have a spare parts. You may, this will also mean that there would be a regular availability of talent, because there are a lot of companies which is making an automobile hub in that particular area. So people are employed, people are looking for a change, people are looking for a better opportunity. So there's ample amount of employees. Similarly, there would be vendors in and around it, who is going to supply the automobile spare parts and things like that. So n numbers of supplies are going to go around. Specialized information, since you are working in a cluster within the geographical location, things which have been improved, who is launching what kind of product, you are at the know of things. And then thereby is a complementary product. When I say complementary product, it can be the promotional scheme that can be given out. What, there can be any added products, added advantages that has been. So it is always pleasurable and maintainable. If you work in a cluster, you can see the best of the things happening around it. And that is the reason why, if you go and view a product, or view a companies, view a clusters, you will see similar kind of companies are flocking together somewhere down the corner, within your localities also. And I have given an automobile as a industry. It can be a textile hub, it can be anything that comes around it. If people are going good around it, it becomes an added advantages to n number of things, be it employees, be it supplier, be it specialized information or complementary product thereby. So determining the sustainability of this advantage is what I've been trying to tell it is SCA, sustainable competitive advantage. What is it? I have already said your core competencies which can be repeated and repeated n numbers of time to wow your audience becomes your distinctive competencies. Your core competencies when repeated nicely and rewardingly, it becomes a distinctive competency. So how do you go about the sustaining competitive advantage? First and foremost is your durability. The rate at which firms' underlying resources, capabilities, core competencies are being appreciated or depreciated or become obsolete. That is what we look. If there are no depletions, there are no obsolescence. In fact, there is only enhancement. It means it is a sustainable competitive advantage. Another thing would be imitability. Invariably nowadays, everything gets mimicked, everything gets copied. So the rate at which firms' underlying resources, capabilities, or core competencies can be duplicated by others, this needs to be, and you as a this needs to be avoided, and you need to be keeping yourself ahead of the curve, and that is what we are looking around here. Then comes the transparency, the speed at which other firms under the relationship of resources and capabilities supports a successful strategy. We have the transferability, the ability of our competitors to gather the resources, capabilities necessary to support a competitive challenge thereby. A replicability, the ability of competitors to use duplicate resources and capabilities to imitate the other firm's success in reality, and that is what we are doing. So that is what we will be looking at it every now and then, be it transparency, transferability, or replicability thereby. Yes, let us understand that what else can matters. First and foremost thing is explicit knowledge. If you have certain knowledge, certain system in place, which can be articulated, communicated, or probably curated and then presented, is what we are looking into it. One of the major competencies of major firms nowadays is NLP, neuro linguistic programming. It becomes an explicit knowledge of certain things, and then there is something called tacit knowledge. By the fact that you are in the business, you come to know of certain things or certain habits or certain upgradation that needs to be done. Knowledge that is not easily communicated but is deeply rooted in an employee experience. Did I say by the fact that you are into certain kind of industry, companies, things like that? So you will come to know about the customer preferences and the choices that they are going to go around it, because then it can be incultivated and incorporated in as a company's culture thereby. We have the business model, we talk about it, the company's method of making money in a current business environment, which includes key structural and operational characteristics of how it earns revenues, makes a profit, and so on and so forth. As the case might be, this is how what the business model comes around it. Remember, it usually has five elements as to who it serves, what it provides, how it makes money. Again, who it serves, what it provides, how it makes money. Next comes here, this was all about the customers, right? Now, how it differentiate and sustain competitive SCA, sustain competitive advantage, and how it provides the product and services. Now, this is all about competitions. It's all about competition. So how can you keep ahead of the curve altogether, and so on and so forth. So business models can be customer solution model or customer focused model, profit pyramid model in which you always keep on sharing of the profit, or it's a multi-level marketing kind of scenario where you win, I also win. And it is a pyramidical model that comes around it, multi-component system or install system. Now this is where we are vendor specific, and probably everybody is manufacturing or everybody is playing a vital role in at the end delivery of the products or the services, that as the case might be. It can be an advertising model. Probably you are spending a lot on your brand ambassadors, influencer, a huge marketing budget, actually sensitizing, in fact hammering your products information in the minds of the end customer. Switchboard model is something which comes around it. It's something which been displayed out here, and you know, because of the quality of the products that it commands, the respect it commands, it will get offshooted from the shelf. People are going to purchase it. So yes, many possible business model are customer solution model, profit pyramid model, multi-component model, install model, advertising model, switchboard model, as the case might be. Some other possible business outcomes are efficiency model, blockbuster model, profit multiplier model, entrepreneur model and de facto industry standard model. Now there are certain factors of the industry which you don't have to do anything but go by the flow as such, absolutely, until and unless you rock the boat. The de facto model till the other point of day was you come to a restaurant to have a fine dining experiences. Now that was a de facto model at that point of time. Then came the blockbuster or profit multiplier models for the restaurants, wherein they said you don't need to come, we will partner with a delivery company and they are going to service the same food at your comfort of your home. So that is what becomes, people actually did not come out of their home to relish the fine dining experiences. They can very well do it at the comfort of their home. So basically other business possible models that I've been trying to, this was an efficiency model, it clicked, become the blockbuster model. Profit multiplier model is wherein you share a part of a profit every time a business gets generated, and that is what we are looking into it, the entrepreneurial model as the case might be, as we are talking about it every now and then. Now let us understand the VCA model or the VCA value chain analysis. Remember, it's from the raw material that we go into manufacturing. From manufacturing, we go into fabrication or let's say packaging. If you want to go, if you don't understand engineering, which is fabrication, but in real terms, in my nominal languages, we can talk about packaging. So you have a raw material, you make a productions, a product, you package it. Now you start into your distributors. It can be a carrying and forwarding agent, it can be a wholesaler, retailer, comes at the end before it ends, reach the end customers. So this is the value chain model. Now if everything can be added to every of the channels that comes around it, what can we add? So there is a value chain addition from the raw material to the primary manufacturing or production. From here we go for packaging, there is a absolute value chain been added. From here it been distributed, the carrier and forwarding, there are nodes, they have been making it accessible to the market. From the market it comes to a retailer who might actually dismantle the product and sell it on a retail on a smaller unit altogether, the retailer which will make the end product available at the luxury of their customers, and they are not going to pinch a pocket, probably it is going to be sold at a retail price. So it's a linked set of value creating activities that brings with the basic raw material coming from a supplier, moving on to a series of value added service involved in producing, marketing a product or servicing, and ending with the distributor getting the final goods in the hands of the ultimate customer as the case might be. And this is what we are looking at it. Let us understand the industry value chain analysis. The value chain segment gives me both upstream and downstream. Center of gravity is a part of the chain that is most important to the company and the point where its core competencies lie altogether. This is the part that is important to the company and point where its core competencies lies as the case might be. So corporate value chain analysis is the primary activities, inbound logistic and operations, outbound logistics as the case might be. We have this primary activities, and then there is something called support activities. This is all about procurement, technology development, human resource management, and firms infrastructure as the case might be. Please look into it. There are certain value chain activities without which you cannot go around, and those are primary. So inbound logistics brings your raw materials, operation is where you manufacture it, and then goes the outbound logistics where which takes out a finished product. But then how can we have it until and unless support activities comes around it? So people are going to purchase the material, right? Then only inbound logistics will take place. Technology development has to be there, otherwise operation will not be taking place. Human resource management has to be there, otherwise there will not be people for inbound logistic operation and outbound logistic. And the firm infrastructure, the capital expenses will ensure that the firm is working without a hitch altogether. So this is the pictographical representation of value chain analysis as the case might be. I have already told it to you. This is the profit margin, and everywhere, be it what the primary activities that we have been talking about, inbound logistics is all about raw material handling, warehousing, and things like that. Whereas in operations would be of the machine assembly, outbound logistic would be a warehousing and distribution of finished products. Marketing and sales would be advertising, promotion, pricing, channel relation, and so on and so forth. Service installation is all about repairs and parts. Similarly, about the firm infrastructure, general management, accounting, finance, strategic planning, human resource management will all include about recruitment, training, development, technology development will be R&D, product process involvement. Remember, this is what we are looking at it every time and every way. So, corporate value chain analysis is each product line needs to be evaluated. The linkage within each product line, the value chain has to be asserted altogether, and the potential synergies, if missing, has to be assimilated in the value chain activity as the case might be. Remember, an organization structure at the very basic level is come and go, right? Everybody knows the job. But when it becomes a little bit complexity, then probably you bifurcate the job on the basis of function. At times, not only functional bifurcation is required, but probably divisional bifurcation is required. Now, division wise is somewhere located in a different locations, right? And this is what we are looking at, a divisional bifurcation. At times, what happens, a business house will be a conglomerate where certain things would be textile industry, certain of their interest would be into, let's say, pharmaceutical industry, textile industry, pharmaceutical industry don't match out together, but they are a part of the single company, so it has to be divisional basis. And then we have the strategic business units which might be located at different location, and the conglomerate approach that comes around it. Remember, this is what we are talking in terms of basic organizational structure. Remember, this comes with other things, as in what are the various structures. If you look into a very simple structure, is the owner, manager, workers, then the functional structures wherein the top management with different functions of manufacturing, sales, finance, and personal departments are there. Then comes a divisional manufacturing. Now, this is what did I say about the pharmaceutical and the textile, and then probably manufacturing, sales, finance, personal, and the same thing will be replicated out here. And this is what we are looking at it. Corporate culture, the company way. Remember, the corporate culture, the collection of beliefs, expectations, value learned, shared by the corporate member, transmitted by from one generation to another, is what the things goes around it. Functions of corporate cultures conveys a sense of identity for the employees, generate employee commitment, adds to the stability of the organization as a social system. Now, this is where it tells me, it gives me, it enjoys that we are doing good, right, at the right point of time. So there is a sense of identity. That means a camaraderie among the employees. The employees become more confident because the organization is stable. They're assured about the working of the organization, serves as a frame of reference for the employees to understand organizational activities and guides for a favor. So, cultural intensity, the degree to which members of a unit accept the norms, values, and other cultural content associated with the unit. And this is what we are looking into it. Shows the culture's depth. Cultural integration is the extent to which units through the organization share a common culture's breadth, as the case might be. Strategic marketing issues refers to the selection of the specific areas of marketing concentration and can be expressed in terms of market, products, and geographic location, as the case might be. Marketing mix is a particular combination of the key variables and the corporation control that can be used to affect demand and gain competitive advantages thereby. Let us understand the marketing mix variable. In terms of product, place, promotion, and price, what are the things that can be taken into consideration? Remember, for product, it will be quality, features, options, style, brand names, packaging, size, service, warranties, and returns. If we are looking into it, if we are ensuring that if the customer is not happy within a specific period, they can return the product. If there are issues beyond that particular period, there can be warranties, there can be an after sales services. It is available in various sizes as per the requirement. And so we have customized the product fairly for the end customer. Then comes the place, is the channel, the coverage, the location, the inventory, the transport that we are looking into it. There is the promotion part, is the advertising, personal selling, sales promotion, publicity, as on when on basis it is happening. The price considers is the list price, the discount, the allowances, the payment period, credit items, and so on and so forth, as the case might be, talking around it. So let us understand the product life cycle. Now, every product, it can be segmented into four different quadrants altogether. It's like that, an introduction stage to the growth stage to the maturity stage, and then eventually a decline if you don't take corrective action. In case if you take a corrective action, it goes on this way. Again, the product, it basically from this point we come to this point. So there is another variation, and this is how everything grows around it. A graph probably tells you how products on the market size or the sales improves on it. So on the x-axis is the time, on the y-axis is the sales thing coming. A name given to the company's product which identifies that the item in the mind of the consumers, as the case might be, is the brand thing. And then we have the corporate brand, a type of brand in which the company's name serves as the brand. This is vital. This actually matters the most in the times to come, because it is the brand which is to be upheld. It that is what the reputation is all about. It a widely perceptions held perception of a company by the general public. That is what we look into it. Basically, a reputation is of two kinds or two attributes. One is the stakeholders perception, as in the leaders and management, what do they believe in, and the corporate prominence in the mind of stakeholder. Now this is where each stakeholder comes around in, and how the corporations actually been viewed up as a benevolent organization, as a quality conscious organization, and so on and so forth. So strategic financial issues or financial leverages are issue to total debt to total asset that comes around it. Describes how debt is used to increase earning available to the common shareholders. Capital budgeting is the analyzing the ranking of the possible investment in fixed assets in terms of additional outlays and the receipt that will result from each investment. So it tells you about the hurdle point, as the case might be. Strategic R&D issues, research and development issues, intensity is spending on the research and development as a percentage of the sales revenue. Remember, principle means the gaining market share in a global competition. That is what we are looking at it. Spending on R&D as a percentage of the sales revenue tells a lot about the market. The research and development shows that you are future oriented, future focused. Technology transfer is the ability to process new technology from the laboratory to the marketplace. It's the way you want to do it. Some says from college to village. Some says education to nation. The way you want to go around here. Now, R&D mixes of basic R&D probably focuses on the theoretical problem. Product R&D concentrated on the marketing issues with the product packaging, improvement, features, and things like that. And then comes the engineering R&D, concentrated with the engineering as far as the quality control is concerned, development of specific designs, improved production equipment, and so on and so forth. Now we will be talking about the technology discontinuity. With the rapid growth of technology, the environment has become susceptible to wide fluctuation, wherein a new technology cannot be used to enhance the current technology. Absolutely. But substitute for new technologies to yield better performances. You don't incrementally improve upon the existing technology. There is absolute disturbances, and a new technology has to be superseded, and probably current technologies has to be ignored altogether. So we talk about the strategic operation issues. Is the intermediate system items are normally processed sequentially, but the work and the sequences, it varies. Continuous system works is laid out in lines of the product, can be continuously assembled or processed. Operating leverages impact of the specific change in the sales volume on a net operation income, as the case might be. Experience curve is a unit production cost decline by some fixed percentage each time, every time accumulated volumes of production unit doubles with the passage of time, as the case might be. Now we'll talk about how we can use it when we are utilizing the team product. It can be self-managed, autonomous, a group of people working together without a supervisor to plan, coordinate, and evaluate. So probably it's a gross objective that has been given to them, gross goals have been given to them. How they are going to reach the goal has been left best to them. So they have to do it in a self-managed basis. Then comes the cross-functional team. Herein, you have an amalgamation of discipline who are going to lend down their experiences and expertise to achieve the said goal. So there are people from different background. Then comes the concurrent engineering. It's basically every specialist is working on their own and probably comparing the notes at the end of the day during the huddle, or probably in a week, to design cost effective products, to design the features, what can be improved upon it. So there is a cross communication which continuously happening, and each one is helping the other one out to come up with a new products altogether. Then can we have the virtual teams? So now with the passage of time, you need not be under the same roof to go and be operate upon it. There is a concept called follow the sun orientation. So wherever the sun is rising, you shift the work at that place. From Japan, you can go to move to Taiwan. From Taiwan, you can move to UAE. From UAE, you can move to France. From France, you can move to England. From England, you can move to a little jump probably to Canada, and so on and so forth. The way you want to come across it, right? So this is what we are talking about. How are we transferring the work? It's basically following the sun approach altogether, or virtually on a metaverse that we work around it. Telecommunication, information technology can help us access this thing as on basis. So trends about virtual teams, it makes the organization flatter. How? Because communication is free and for all bases. It is accessible. Turbulent environment, yes, the environment is fluctuating. Increased employee autonomy, higher knowledge requirement, and increased globalization shows the way. Then we have the QWL. Now, QW is quality of work life and human diversity. Now, this introduced the participative problem solving methodology, restructuring work, introducing innovative reward system, and improving the work environment with the passage of time. Every time that we come across it is QWL, or quality of work life, also fosters human diversity, the mix of people working together under the same roof. Remember, when I say mix, people are from different race, cultures, background. Now they will bring different perspectives and provides a competitive advantage for the company to work around for the societal products. Strategic information system, or the technological issues as the case might be, it is all about the back office processes. It is all about the individual tasks, enhancement of the key business functions, development of the competitive advantages thereby, and this is how we are looking at it. So with the with the advent of the internet, the web 2.0, I suppose it has become hugely a resource driven, a people intensive things, where there is an open communication. Absolutely, yes. The use of wikis, blogs, or RSS, which is really simple syndication, social network, LinkedIn, Facebook, podcast, mashups through company website, forge much tighter links. You come to know of things much faster, and people are able to segregate informations from the data by. So there are supply chain management, the forming of network of the sourcing new materials, manufacturing products, creating services, storing, distributing goods, and delivering them to the customers and consumers is what we are looking around it. Did I say about IFAS? Yes. IFAS is International Factor Analysis Summary, where the table goes around it. Internal factors are wherein I might have a certain strength and certain weaknesses. It can be an individual basis. You can have this on a company basis. For example, the strength which has been done is quality meta cultures, experience top management, vertical integration, employer relations, Hoover's international orientation. The weaknesses: process-oriented R&D, distribution channel, financial positioning, global positioning, manufacturing facilities. Now, in the weakness and the strength, you should have a weightage which varies from 0 to 1. That means the weightage has to be 0, which means least applicable, 1, which will be maximum applicable. The weightage has to be so well distributed that it adds up to the value called 1 altogether, and that is it all. Now once you have done this thing, you have to be rating it. And how do you rate it? It is done through the employees, done through other stakeholders, and which these ratings when may be done on a 5 point Likert scale, again from 1 2 3 4 5, 5 being the highest one, most preferred one, and 1 being the least preferred one, as the case might be. So once you have done a survey, let's say we have done a sample population of your stakeholders probably, and then amalgamate, make an average scores and multiply. Now this weightage is not been shown to the survey population who have been saying it out. So they will just randomly mark it out we will make an average about it and then multiply with the weightage to come up the weightage scores, and then this is the final score that comes around it. It will tell about what needs to be done, how needs to be improved, and so on and so forth. With this, I wind up this particular presentation. Thank you for watching this.